Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I think this is episode 9 of our series on Virarith, the server. Really glad you're back. Today's video is going to be very simple. This is, actually, it's not simple. It's just going to be much different than, what I would normally do. Not the gameplay, but, a little different, from normal. As I recently watched a movie, Meet Joe Black, and I thought I would write something about it. You know, just kind of like a small critique about the movie, simply because, you know, I quite enjoyed it. It was quite nice. So let's just get it started, you know? Let's just get started with it. So, first of all, it was released in 1998, so it was made a while ago, you know. It's Meet Joe Black is a 3-hour long slow burn film filled with like long cinematic shots and slow pacing, almost like someone crawling. And you know, I think that's why it earned itself such a low IMDb rating of 0.7 out of 10. 0.7 out of 10. Anyway, the story is basically centered around Joe Black, who is Brad Pitt in the movie, and Bill Parrish, played by Anthony Hopkins. Oh, by the way, the pumpkins will fall again, so sorry for all of you OCD people. Yeah, Bill Parrish being, you know, kind of the main character of the movie. He's like a 65-year-old media tycoon, preparing his business for like a big merger with another large company, with another large media company. Sorry, kind of, you know, giving them monopoly over the large media. Anyway, at the beginning of the movie, we see him and his daughter, one of his daughters, preparing his like huge birthday party, his 65th birthday party, which seems to have an unlimited budget. There's going to be like hundreds of people. There's shows, there's fireworks, there's like, you know, performances, everything. Everything is being done for that man's birthday. Anyway, so yeah, early on we meet his daughters, one of whom being Susan, who is a hospital resident, internal medicine, and while on the way to work, right after the opening scene, Susan has this like romantic spark, with like, you know, this charming and charismatic guy in a cafe, and you know, they kind of part ways, sharing like seductive smiles and glances, and their last words was like, yo, you know, I like you, and then she also said I like you. But you know, Susan's in a situationship and it's complicated, so they part ways. And as they kind of look back at one another, Susan, you know, turns the corner, and the stranger gets hit by a car. Yeah, stranger just goes flying. You know, we can only assume he died. Honestly, it was so violent, abrupt, and high speed. We literally see him go flying. Anyway, right after that, literally right after we see him flying, we pan back to Bill, our main character. He's been hearing, strange voices ever since he left the house where he was planning the party. He was feeling also incredibly unwell. You see him, like, clutching his heart as if, he was having a heart attack, the classic, heart attack thing. And, as the voice keeps on talking to him, he enters a room and the voice reveals itself. It's the same man from the cafe, now mysteriously alive. We, at this point, it's not really said yet, but we can understand that the man is death. He's of godly or mysterious deity vibes. Bill and Joe kind of hang out, and he introduces Joe as Joe Black. Doesn't give much more information than that, but that's pretty much how it begins and how it goes on. It's Bill and Joe sharing moments, and Joe and Susan kind of falling in love throughout the movie, having these like nice melodramatic moments and conversations. You might have seen some clips on TikTok if you're on there of the movie. Anyway, I really think that Brad Pitt does an amazing job of portraying death as this, like, as someone who's experiencing human existence for the first time. Joe Black moves through the movie kind of like a newborn in an adult body. He's stiff. He's sorry, I missed that one. He's stiff. He's like too literal. He's unsure of like how to behave in social encounters. I do want to say though, I forgot to say it at the beginning. Spoiler alerts for the movie. If you mean to watch it, maybe go watch it first. Or, watch it after and be spoiled a little. He's unsure of what to do in social settings. He doesn't know what is expected of him or, his presence, right? But at the same time, there's like this strange depth to him where he might not understand how to like interact with people, but he understands immediately who other characters are, or like who they are, what they do. He knows how to reach them and in ways that are kind of unsettling. One example of that is he goes to visit Susan at the hospital, and he meets this lady, which refers to him as like this bad spirit. He then takes her homeland accent to try to like reassure her that he's not bad. He doesn't mean her any harm in any way. She quickly understands who he is, and she asks him if it's her time and to please take her so that the pain goes away. He makes her understand that it's not her time yet, and that she needs to endure it a little longer. He seems to do something then that seems to calm her down a little, which was sweet. And then yeah. That's the moment. Later in the movie, he goes back to visit her, and different outcome, but I won't talk about that one. basically the whole movie is about, like, the whole premise is about Death, Joe unexpectedly discovering love through Susan, in his interactions, and how sweet they are with one another, how, how short amount of time, how like they don't spend much time together, but it almost feels like they've known each other for a while. And once he feels that love, he clings to it. He doesn't want to let go. In this kind of like innocent desperation, he he confesses to Bill at some point that he wants to take her with them, um, to the other side, which we understand is death. Um, anyway, he doesn't want to let go of like this first human emotion, this real thing that he has just lived through and experienced. Um, it makes him feel alive, even though he's not. He's, this inevitable thing that nobody can escape. Uh, on the other side of this, back to Bill, we see Bill kind of, come to terms with his own death. Um, like, knowing that his death is near, it really changes him. Um, he tries to tie up loose ends, make peace with people, his family, um, and do things, to do things that he had never done before. Because, he was like this wealthy, constantly working media empire mogul. Um, Capitalism, greed and profit. And, there was this merger that I talked about, and this merger would have been bad for society, apparently. And, he defends the fact that, uh, the impact on society is more important than the profits that they would make with that merger, in that current time. Anyway, he suddenly just wants to simplify his life. Um, his money, his achievements, pride, everything like that doesn't matter anymore, So he just wants to make a clean break, of all of that, and spend time with his family at the end, and leave a lasting positive impact on on the world, on this, on what he's doing. I closed chat again, by the way, guys. I feel like it's distracting me sometimes. Sorry if it was entertaining to some of you. Anyway, I I really think that the interactions between Bill and Joe are some of the best parts in the movie, simply because it's like a strange, funny, but it's got this like ET vibe to it, where Bill ends up teaching Joe death, how to live. And Joe might be mortal and inevitable, but Bill's the one who lived, and he's the one that's teaching, um that's teaching Joe how to live, and how to be human, how to be one of us. Now, real spoilers ahead. This is gonna be this is more about the end. So if you wanted to watch the movie, this is the time for you to click off, okay? Because I'm really talking about the end. I mean, it's not like you couldn't guess it, but anyway, spoiler alert, okay? Just keep that in mind. Keep it in mind that I tried to warn you, and there's spoilers ahead, okay? As Bill and his family, go to the large party that his daughter organized, um, Joe makes Bill understand that this is kind of the last thing that he does. This is the end. Uh, there's nothing after. It's done. It's over and done. Um, Joe then goes to speak to Susan one last time about how he's going away for a long time and he isn't going back. Susan wants to know all about him. Um, he never ends up saying anything, but he kind of gestures to implies that he's leaving with his dad, and that he's never coming back, basically. Not his dad, but Joe. Um, but you could kind of understand that. Well, if Joe goes, Bill is also going. But anyway, um, Joe tells her that he's gonna love her forever. He's very thankful that Susan, has let him feel loved for the first time in his life, in his existence, I would say, instead of life, because um, then Bill, kind of shares one last dance with his daughter, with Susan. He also has a nice conversation with his other daughter about how he loved her and he understands that they weren't as close as he was with Susan, but he truly did love her and that he wishes her the best and all. And fireworks go off. Everyone heads to the docks to watch the fireworks. But Bill heads to the garden with Joe, and as they cross the bridge, this like super symbolic bridge of like crossing to the other side, we see Susan looking over in the distance, understanding that it's her father's last time and that Joe's leaving too. And as they finally cross over the bridge, we see Susan's face one last time, and the end. The end. Or not. That's where I would have ended things, but no. It keeps going. It keeps going. I Let me do it this way, okay? If that was the true ending, my personal rating of the movie would be something like a 7 or an 8 out of 10. Or like 7.4, 7.5. Something like that, okay? The true ending of the movie is disappointing, to say the least. Okay? Joe comes back over the bridge, and we end up understanding that the young man that Susan met in the cafe earlier is back in his own body with little to no recollection of what happened over the past days. Doesn't remember getting hit by a car, doesn't remember like the past few days where he spent hours with Bill and with Susan and doing other stuff. And then Susan acts like the whole time that Joe was in this guy's body never happened either. She seems to understand that Joe was death and then it's the end. That's it. They literally just go together. And that's the end. Why? Why? We did not need this positive romantic, like, boo-hoo ending to the movie. It was good. The movie, okay. First of all, I don't think the movie deserves a 0.7 out of 10. Come on. Like, the acting is good. The music in the movie is really nice. I think it pairs really well with the scenes. Yes, it's overly dramatic in some aspects, and you know, it could do with some tune-up, but the movie itself is good. It's okay. Let me just say something. I'm not a movie expert or anything. I'm not, you know, I'm not, I'm not I don't watch billions of movies from like 1936 about like how snails live longer than turtles and that backflips are political statements. You know, I don't care that much about the movies. I like how the movies make me feel, and that's it. You know, I like when funny movies. You know, that kind of thing. So I'm not like a movie critic, like a perfect one, but the movie was good. It didn't deserve a 7% out of 100, bro. Like, no. Anyway, with the current ending, though, with the actual ending, I think the movie maybe deserves a 5. Just because it's so, like, unnecessary to bring back Joe, like, to bring the man back from the dead, and then he doesn't remember anything, and then Susan just plays along like it's nothing, as if she understood everything, even though, you know, it was never really clear about what Joe said. Um, like, if any normal person without plot armor was in the same situation as Susan, you would never guess that he was deaf. Ever. Or especially not that fast, anyway. Anyway, I'm rambling at this point. There's going to be an event on the server for Thanksgiving. For American Thanksgiving. I'm Canadian, so, you know, it doesn't really affect me. But there's going to be a turkey hunt. So, come join us. Come kill some turkeys. Come open crates. There's going to be some gambling involved now. I don't think it's going to be with real money, guys, so don't worry about it. But, yeah. Come enjoy the server. Come hang out. Come, mine some pumpkins with me. Come build the castle very soon. And thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you a lot. And have a good day. Have a good night. And sleep tight, guys. Thank you so much. Goodbye.